Hey, how's it going, fight fans? Welcome to Mindful Combat. If you're new to the channel, my name's Rohan, and this is my platform where I do boxing and MMA related videos. And if you're new here, I need you to hit the subscribe button and get involved in the conversation in the comment section below. Maybe like the video, dislike the video. Either way, give me feedback. And if you've got any friends or family that are fight fans, then share out the video to help me grow my platform. Anyways, this is a video that I'm really excited to make, and it's going to be on the upcoming fight between Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman. Now, if you've seen any of my other content, you would probably be likely to assume that I'm a bigger MMA fan than I am a boxing fan. Well, that's not necessarily true. Whilst I'm a huge MMA fan, my love for fighting sports, as I grew up, aside from martial arts movies and WWE, started with professional boxing. And I've always been a huge fan of professional boxing, and this is a key fight. Recently, I've done a video talking about the sad state of boxing in 2019, but actually this fight embodies everything that's correct about boxing and everything that should be happening. Now, don't get me wrong, the fight's not perfect, but it's about as perfect as a fight you can get in this day and age. And it's one that I'm really excited about. I thought about doing a breakdown for the fight, but this fight to me is important beyond just breaking it down and letting you guys know who I would think is going to win. So I thought, let me do a discussion video where I kind of talk about this fight and talk about its importance to me and the importance of this fight in boxing in general. So you got one of the all-time greatest boxers to ever brace the ring, to ever step in the square circle, in Manny Pacquiao taking on Keith Thurman, the undefeated Keith Thurman. Now, firstly, when you're talking about Manny Pacquiao, yes, you're talking about a 40-year-old man, but you're talking about a 40-year-old man who's still a world champion in this day and age. Showed against Adrian Broner, he's still got skill to box for 12 rounds, and you know, whilst people tend to slow down against Adrian Broner through rounds 9 through 12, Manny Pacquiao put it on Adrian Broner to secure the victory. So this is a guy who at 40 years old, and prior to that he knocked out Lucas Matisse, who's an exceptional boxer. So this is a fighter in Manny Pacquiao who's still very much relevant in this day and age. Now, he's not the Manny Pacquiao of 2006, 2007, or you know, circa 2010, but it's still a very good, very relevant, talented Manny Pacquiao. Just looking at some of the credentials that Manny Pacquiao has, he's won 12 world championships across 8 different weight classes. That's absolutely insane. The dude is an animal. He started boxing when he was, I think 16 years old. He had to lie about his age to start boxing. He's got a professional record of 61 wins, 7 losses and 2 draws, and a large majority of that has been fought in world title fights. When you're looking at Manny Pacquiao, you're looking at talking about a guy who retired Oscar De La Hoya, who essentially retired Ricky Hatton. He beat Miguel Cotto, one of the all-time greats, Sugar Shane Mosley. His list of credentials and wins just goes on. We're talking about Antonio Margarito, like I mentioned, Broner more recently, a 4-time world champion in his own right. Manny Pacquiao is exceptional. Since his Floyd Mayweather fight, he's gone 4-1, the one loss being to Jeff Horn, and even that loss was a suspect loss. I don't think he lost that, and anyone who was watching that fight wouldn't assume that Manny Pacquiao lost that fight. So Manny Pacquiao is exceptional. He is the embodiment of everything that is correct in professional boxing today. He fights Keith Thurman, the 30-year-old who, although didn't look his best in his comeback fight, that was after 2 years off, and he was fighting a durable and respectable journeyman, a high-level journeyman is what I'll call Josecito Lopez. But at 30 years old, Keith Thurman is still 29-0. He's undefeated. He's the WBA world champion, the WBA Super World champion, and prior to his layoff, he was a unified world champion. So I believe he was at 1 or 2 belts short of being undisputed at welterweight. Keith Thurman is world-renowned for his skill set, his ability, his punching power. And this is a dude who's been boxing at a high level for an incredibly long time. When you're looking at some of his wins, you're talking about him beating Danny Garcia, giving Danny Garcia the first loss of his career, beating Sean Porter, who's a world champion now. Even guys like Luis Collazo, who's an absolute banger of a boxer, he's an absolutely incredible boxer. And they're both colliding for a world title fight, where you got the WBA Super and the WBA regular world champions fighting each other to solidify who holds the #1 spot in the WBA. This is such an incredible fight, and there's so many things to take away from this. Firstly, we're talking about a division which is probably historically, stereotypically, in this day and age, the glamour division of boxing. And I know traditionally it's been heavyweight, but over the recent years, we're talking about guys that have come out of the division that have been absolute superstars. Manny Pacquiao himself, Floyd Mayweather, Errol Spence is all the hype right now. And speaking of Errol Spence is a guy in the weight class who's probably lurking around looking for the winner of this fight. So the division is really heating up, and this fight is really pivotal in how the division plays out. Then you got Terence Bud Crawford, for my money, the best boxer at welterweight right now. Is absolutely incredible, undefeated world champion as well. And then you got Sean Porter, who I've mentioned as well. So this fight right here has a lot of divisional sweepstakes on it as well. When coming into this fight, there's a few things we need to consider. Firstly, the washed up question. At 40 years old, is Manny Pacquiao more washed up than Keith Thurman, who, despite being in the prime of his life and athletic career, looked like he was a shell of his former self in his last fight, whereas Manny Pacquiao at 40 looked active as ever? That's a big question mark coming into this fight. If this was the Keith Thurman of once upon a time, I would probably pick Keith Thurman to win this fight, but Keith Thurman didn't look like the Keith Thurman of once upon a time. Is Keith Thurman going to be able to have recovered? Was his last fight a performance of based on ring rust? Was that what impacted his performance? Are we going to see a vintage one-time performance in this fight? I don't know. And that's what's one of the things that's so appealing about it. Is Manny Pacquiao going to show the world at 40 years old that he is far from done and still got a skill set to go for days and he's still exceptional? I don't know. Maybe. It's likely. It's possible. There's so many key storylines coming into this fight, and then when you're looking at this fight, you've got to consider, well, what's next? The magnitude of this fight cannot be understated. We're talking about a world championship fight between one of the all-time greatest and one of the best of this generation. That's what's happening right now, and this is the type of fight that boxing needs right now. It's the type of fight that boxing needs to lead by example, so the other divisions can start to play out, so the heavyweight division can take note, so we can see Deontay Wilder rematch Tyson Fury, or we can see Deontay Wilder have fought Anthony Joshua before he lost to Andy Ruiz, or where Andy Ruiz plays in that situation now. It's a fight that's really going to be knocking on doors. Maybe we get to see some bigger fights coming out of this, like Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith. It's just a fight that moves boxing in the correct direction that it needs to be moving on, and I'm so excited for what this means for the future of boxing. The winner of this fight is probably going to be looking at the winner of Sean Porter and Errol Spence, which is going to be another exceptional fight, and I think I'll do a breakdown for that. But this fight deserves respect in its own right for how big it is and what it's going to achieve, and then what it sets up, because then the winner of this fight holds a belt. If they fight the winner of Sean Porter and Errol Spence, who at the time will be a unified world champion, well, then that just sets up the biggest fight in the history of the welterweight division, maybe, with Terence Crawford to get undisputed champion in an absolutely incredible situation. Imagine a world where in 2020, Manny Pacquiao unifies the welterweight division. Imagine that. He could be 2-3 wins away from achieving just that. How incredible would that be? Where would that solidify him in his position of greatness of all time when we're talking about boxing? Got to be high up there. How do you erect a boxing Mount Rushmore and then not include Manny Pacquiao at that point? What does this mean for the Philippines? Because obviously Manny Pacquiao is such a huge draw in the Philippines that they stop civil war to watch his boxing matches, and he's still got skill set in this day and age. Till this day, quote Deontay Wilder, he is still talented. Keith Thurman, what does this mean for Keith Thurman if he can win, be probably one of the greatest boxers to ever lace the boots of all time? What next? He's obviously been accused of dodging Errol Spence, and whilst I won't go into the politics of boxing, has he? Maybe. Will this then give him the confidence to have those fights, and then we can look at more unification fights? This is an excellent fight for boxing. I really hope that as many people as possible take opportunity to watch this fight. So guys, let me know your thoughts on this fight. How do you guys have this fight going? Just on off, I'm going to pick Manny Pacquiao to get the W here, just based on the most recent performances. I feel that Manny Pacquiao still has a lot to offer, whereas Keith Thurman looked like he hasn't really recovered from his rotator cuff surgery, and that's a bad surgery for boxing. For some context, James DeGale had that and he was never the same James DeGale. Jarrett Hurd had that, he lost his most recent fight. It's a career end of that surgery. Has it ended Keith Thurman's career? I don't know, maybe. So based on that, I'm going to pick Manny Pacquiao. Who are you guys going to pick? Why don't you comment below? Let me know what you think about the fight, if you're going to watch the fight. And if you're not going to watch the fight, tell me why you won't watch the fight. If you're an MMA fan and not a boxing fan, I implore you to watch this fight. I'm sure you know who Manny Pacquiao is. Give Keith Thurman a try. Watch the fight and see what you think. Comment below, let me know what you think about the fight and the importance of this fight. And let me know if you think I'm getting way over excited about this fight and what's happening. It's really important to me, and I really wish that more people would talk about it so we could have a large dialogue about what's going on here. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. Comment below, and if you're new here, subscribe. Mind for Combat.